comfortable seated position. So again, you can sit cross-legged, you can sit on your knees, you can sit with your legs out in front, just however feels good. We are going to do a very restorative session this morning. So making sure you've got any blocks, blankets, cushions, anything around you that you need to be nice and comfortable. And we can just take a few moments, as always, just to kind of arrive. It feels weird being back in this room teaching too. Okay. Just double check my phone for this. Okay, so just taking a few moments to just get comfortable. And again, as always, we just start with the body. So again, how do we feel like we're sitting? Do we want to roll shoulders back and down a little? Lift up through the sternum. Back of the neck is long, chin is slightly tucked in, eyes are lightly closed. And we can just slowly start to shift our awareness inwards. So we just start to become aware of that breath, and just that gentle inhalation. And the exhalation as the breath just slowly starts to deepen, just that watching and that awareness of the breath. And then we can just start to breathe into that yogic breath, or the free part breath. So then when we start to breathe into the belly or the diaphragm area, up into the chest, up into the collarbones. So again, we're filling the whole of the lungs. And then again, we can breathe out of the diaphragm, out of the chest, and out of the collarbones. And we can just breathe in for that count of 6. Again, 2 into the belly, 2 into the chest, 2 into the upper chest. And then as we exhale, we just have that slightly longer exhalation. So again, just breathing out for that count of 8 or 10. So we'll empty the lungs on the exhalation. Again, we also use that longer exhalation just to breathe out any kind of unwanted thoughts, stresses, worries, any of that mental chatter. We can just breathe it out and just let it go. And then we're just going to come into a few rounds of the Nadi the alternate nostril breathing, so we can balance. It's just in the Equinox, so that point of balance. So this is where we're going to use our usually our right hand, you can use your left if it's more comfortable. And we use the ring finger and the thumb to kind of block off the nostrils. So you might have your first 2 fingers kind of pointing down to the palm, or you might have those first 2 fingers pointing up and your ring finger and little finger pointing down. So again, whichever feels most comfortable for you. And we're just going to start by blocking off the left nostril, and we're going to breathe in and out of the right nostril for 3 breaths. And then we're going to block off the right nostril. We're going to breathe in and out of the left nostril for 3 breaths. And then we're going to start to breathe in through the right and out through the left for 3 rounds. And then in through the left, out through the right for 3 breaths. And then we're going to come into that full alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to start by blocking off the left nostril. We're going to breathe in through the right. We're going to block both nostrils, out through the left, in through the left, block, and then again out through the right, and then again in through the right, block, and then left. And we can just let this flow naturally, or we can have that Samavriti count, which again is that one where we breathe out for 6, we breathe in for 6, and then we block or retain that breath for a count of either 3 or 6, and then we swap sides. Again, if we're comfortable or if we like that hold in the breath, you can come into the Samavriti count. And again, the next time we breathe out through that right nostril, we just allow the breath to return back to its normal rhythm. We can again just take that couple of moments. Again, how do we feel after our pranayama practices? So that alternate nostril breathing is about balancing out that left and the right side of the body, clearing out the nadis, the energy channels. And again, that's what we've been looking at with the equinox, which is that point of balance. So again, that kind of shift from the kind of the sunshine and the light bright days of summer to that darkness of winter. It's kind of moving from that outward energy to that more inward energy, slowing down. So that's what we're going to practice today. So we're going to slowly come round and just come onto our backs now. And we're just going to come into any comfortable reclining position, just having your kind of block and cushion here. So you can just kind of grab them when you need them. And again, just taking those few moments just to get comfortable as always. So again, do we have the feet on the floor? Do we have the soles of the feet together, the knees flopped out to the side? Do we have our legs stretched out? Whatever feels good. Do we have the feet on the floor, the inside of the knees touching? So again, whatever feels good here for the body. And then again, just taking those few moments to just shift that awareness inwards. So again, we just become aware of the body, the parts of the body that press down into the floor. And then we just kind of, on our next exhalation, we just really kind of sink down into those parts that touch the floor. So we just allow that body just to become really heavy. And then again, we can start to bring that breath and that awareness into the body. So again, we can start to breathe from the top of the head right down into the fingers, the toes. And again, as we exhale, We just allow the weight of the body just to sink down into the floor. Just let everything relax, release, soften on that exhalation. And again, we can just breathe from the top of the head right down into the fingers, the toes. And again, as we exhale, just that allowing the weight of the body just to sink down into the floor. Just letting everything soften, relax, release on that exhalation. Again, is what we're going to work with today, that letting go. So again, that letting go on the exhalation, allowing the body to soften. And again, on our next exhalation, just really allowing that body just to become nice and heavy. Just allowing the weight of the body just to sink down into the floor. So that letting go, any holding, any tension, any rigidity, and also breathing out any kind of emotions, any that mental chatter. And just breathe it out and just let it go. And then we can just slowly now start to bring a little bit of gentle movement. So we can just start to wiggle the fingers, the toes a little. Maybe start to hit that head from side to side. Start to bring that little bit of movement into the neck. And then again, when we're ready to bring a little bit more movement into the body, we can do 3 of those gentle overarm stretches. So as we inhale, we can take those arms up over the head. We can pull the toes up towards us or point the toes away. And then again, as we exhale, we just allow the arms and the legs just to relax that down by the sides. And again, just a couple more rounds working with the breath. And then again, when we've done 3 rounds of them, we're going to come into that little banana asana to begin with. So again, we're just going to clasp the hands together or hook the thumbs. We're going to bring those arms up over the head, bring the arms onto the floor above the head. And then we're just going to gently take those arms and the head towards that top kind of right-hand corner of the mat. And then we're going to walk our legs towards the bottom right-hand corner. So we find that side stretch through that right side, through the left side of the body. And then again, we just take those few moments here just to relax. Again, do we leave the hands clasped? Do we take the arms out to shoulder level? Do we turn the head a little bit towards the right? Do we leave legs side by side, cross right on left or left on right? And then again, that shifting inwards. So again, where do we feel that little pull, that little bit of tension? We focus our breath into that area. And as we exhale, just trying to allow that area just to soften, relax, release. Again, just trying to letting go with the exhalation. And then we're going to slowly come back to center. And then we do all that on our opposite side now. So we're just going to walk those legs towards that right-hand corner. Sorry, really bad my left and right at the moment, not very balanced. We're going to take our legs towards that bottom left-hand corner. We're going to take our arms up towards that top left-hand corner. So then we find that stretch through the right side this time. And again, do we leave the hands clasped? If we've got that pinching or the pulling in the top of the shoulders there, we might want to take the arms a little bit wider out to the side. Do we leave legs side by side, cross left on right or right on top left? And then again, just come to that sweet little spot where again, we find that side stretch, but again, it's not too intense. So we can just soften into it, relax into it, and release into it on that exhalation. And then again, we can just slowly come back to center. And we can just take those arms out to the side here for a couple of breaths. So now we're just going to slowly bring those knees up into the chest. And we're just going to have that little rock out of the lower back here for a couple of moments. We just circle those knees in one direction. And then we take those knees in the opposite direction. And then now we're going to play around a little bit with finding that openness here through the front of the chest. So we're just going to start by dropping the feet onto the floor. And again, we're going to play around a little bit with those shoulder stretches. So we're just going to bring the arms up towards the ceiling. So again, the palms are facing towards each other. And again, as we inhale, we reach those arms up towards the ceiling. So again, pulling the shoulder blades off the floor. And then again, as we exhale, we relax the shoulder blades onto the floor. And again, a couple more rounds. And then the next time we relax those shoulder blades down onto the floor, we're going to grab hold of that left wrist with our right hand. And then we're just going to slowly roll it over onto that right side. We're going to drop that right arm down onto the floor and we're just going to bring that left arm up towards the ceiling. We're going to find that little bit of length here again through the arms. Again, we reach the arm up towards the ceiling and then we soften a little. And then we're going to start to circle again. So we're just going to start to do little circles with that arm. And we gradually get bigger and bigger as we spiral outwards until we're kind of taking that arm to its full range of movement. And again, that awareness of where it feels a little bit tight and a little bit sticky. So I always find it's that transition from overhead to behind the back feels a little bit tight for me. So again, just trying to make that movement really fluid. Oil out all those little sticky tight bits. And then we can bring that arm back to center and we're going to go in the opposite direction. So again, we just sort of slowly start to spiral. And we're going to get bigger and bigger. And again, eventually taking that arm to its full range of movement. And then we're just going to bring that arm back up towards the ceiling. So now we're going to come into that little half cow head arms here on our back. So this is that one where we're going to take that left arm, we're going to turn the hand face kind of behind us. And then we're going to start to bend that elbow as we drop that hand down the back. And then maybe bring it towards kind of the mid back or the upper back. And we kind of have that kind of back of back of the left hand pressing down into the back. So we can take an inhalation here, and as we exhale, we're going to roll over onto our back now. So our palm is now pressing down into the floor. So we get that little bit of openness now across the front of the chest. And again, we just make a few adjustments here, because again, you're kind of using the weight of your upper body really to stretch out through the front of the arm here. So just go gently. And again, just take a few moments here just to relax. And then we're just going to slowly roll a little bit back towards that right side. And we're just going to release that left arm. And then we do all that on the right side now. So we're just going to bring those arms back up in front of us. We're going to grab hold of that right wrist with our left hand. We're going to exhale, rolling over onto our left side now, taking a few moments here to get comfortable. And then again, just reaching that right arm up towards the ceiling this time. And again, that little bit of extension through the arm. And then again, that little bit of starting to circle and that playing around with movement there. So again, we just start small and we get bigger and bigger. So eventually taking that arm to its full range of movement. And then we can bring that hand back up towards ceiling. And then again, we can go in that opposite direction. And spiraling outwards, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, just trying to make that movement nice and fluid. And then we can bring that hand back to centre. And then again, we're just going to turn that palm to face behind us. Again, turning that thumb down towards, pointed towards the feet. And then again, we're going to bend that arm. We're going to drop it behind the back. We're going to bring the back of the hand there to either middle or kind of upper back, wherever's comfortable. And then again, we're just going to slowly roll here onto our back. So again, we're just gently using the weight of the upper body just to open there through the front of the shoulder. And again, just come to a point that feels okay. Just softening there. Breathing into it for a few breaths. And then again, we're just going to slowly roll again back towards that left side. And we're just going to release that right arm. And we can again just take those arms out to shoulder level there. And again, just take a couple of breaths. So for the next few ones, we're going to start to work a little bit more into our hips, and then we're going to work into our hamstrings. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to start again with those feet on the floor and the knees bent. And we're just going to start to bring that left knee up into the chest. And we're just going to squeeze that left knee into the chest for a couple of breaths. And then we do that little bit of psoas release here. So the next time we take that left knee away from us, we're going to take an inhalation. We're going to exhale, start to squeeze the left knee towards the thigh. And then we're going to start to kind of draw that right leg away from us. So we kind of slide that right heel down the mat. And then once that leg's kind of fully extended, we squeeze the left thigh towards the belly as we press through that right heel, pull the toes towards us. And then we can release that left knee a little bit. We can start to slide that right heel back in. And then again, one more round, we take an inhalation, exhale, we can squeeze left thigh towards the belly as we slowly straighten through the right leg. And then again, once that right leg's straight, we just hang out there for a couple of breaths, pressing through the heel, pulling the toes towards us on the right side, and squeezing the left knee into the chest. And then we just release. And then we're going to bring that right hand onto that left knee. We're just going to gently drop that left arm out to the side. And then we're going to slowly just tug that left knee a little bit over towards the right side. And then we're going to bring that leg back to center. And then we're going to bring that left hand onto that left knee, right hand onto the front of that right hip bone. And then again, we just drop that left knee a little bit out to the side there. And then we can come back. And then we're going to come into that little restorative tree position now. So again, this is that one where we're going to then drop that left knee out towards the side. We're going to wiggle that kind of left foot up towards the inside of our right thigh. And we're just going to take a few moments here, so like a reclining tree. And then we're just going to bring our hands onto our belly. We're just going to breathe into the hands here. And then we're just going to slowly just bring that left foot back onto the floor. And then we're just going to bring that right foot back down onto the floor as well. We're going to do all that on the right side now. So again, we're going to start to squeeze that right knee up into the chest. Take a breath. And then we release a little bit. And then the next time we take that inhalation, we exhale, squeeze the right thigh towards the chest. And we slowly slide that left leg away from us. And again, once that left leg's kind of slid away from us, we press through the heel, we pull the toes towards us, we squeeze our right thigh towards the belly. And then again, we can just release. And slide that left foot back in. Again, one more round, squeezing the thigh towards the belly, and slowly sliding that left leg away from us. Really bad, my left and my right at the moment.
And then again, we can release. And then again, bringing that left hand onto that right knee, that right arm out to the side. We just gently draw that kind of right knee just a couple of inches across the body. And get a gentle outer glute, hip stretch. And then again, we can come back in. And then again, we can bring that right hand onto that right knee, left hand onto the front of the left hip bone. Slowly drop that right knee a little bit out to the side as we pull that left hip bone over. And then again, back to center. And then finally coming into that little reclining tree position. So again, just dropping that kind of right knee out towards the side and just wiggling that right foot up towards the inside of that kind of left thigh. And again, just hands onto the belly and just breathing into the hands. And then if it feels okay, we can just bring both those feet together. We can have the knees flopped out to the side and come into that little reclining Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. And we might even have a little rock here from side to side. And then we can just slowly bring those feet back onto the floor and the knees back together. So now we can start to work a little bit, again, finding length into the legs. So we're going to work a little bit of our hamstring stretches here. So again, this is where you'll need a band or a scarf or a dog lead or whatever you've got to hand to use. So we're just going to start again to draw that kind of left knee up into the chest and squeeze that left knee into the chest. And then we're going to grab hold of the band and we're going to bring it around the sole of that left foot as we stretch our left leg up towards the ceiling. So again, as always, we want to feel it a little bit in the back of the hamstrings there. So again, not behind the knees, soften, bend the knees as much as you need to. We're going to start to move a little bit here with the breath. So again, we take that leg away. We can bring the leg a little bit in towards us. Again, we're just trying to work into the hamstrings. We're trying to keep our lower back nice and soft down towards the floor. And then the next time we bring that left leg in, we just bring it to that point where we get a really good stretch and just hang out there for a couple of breaths. And then again. And then we can start to straighten the right leg. And again, we can do the same thing, bring that left leg in towards us, releasing the left leg a little bit. And then the next time we bring that left leg in, we're just going to bring it to that point where we get a really good hamstring stretch and we're going to hang out here for a few breaths. So we're just going to close the eyes if that feels okay, just breathing into that stretch. Again, if you want to bring it a little bit more also into the calf, really kind of pressing through the heel and pulling those toes towards you, so you get that little bit of engagement there into the calf as well and the foot. And then again, we can just release. And then we're just now going to bring our band a couple of times around that right hand. We're going to take that left arm out to shoulder level. And then all we're going to do is just bring that left leg a couple of inches across the midline of the body to begin with. And then again, we're going to play around here. So again, you bring it a lot further over. You have a nice handy wall like I do, or sofa or bed to prop it on. And again, it feels okay just to extend and take the stretch into the calf as well. So again, pressing through the heel, pulling the toes towards you. And then again, we can slowly come back to center. And then that final wall again is that little psoas release. We do lots of psoas releasing. So we're just going to lower that left leg to a point where we no longer really get a stretch in the hamstrings, and we can just hang out there and just breathe into it for a few breaths. And then we can just slowly bring that knee to the chest. And then again, we can just drop that foot back onto the floor. And then we'll do all that now on the right side. So again, we're going to start by hooking that right knee into the chest. And then again, we're going to grab hold of the band, bring it around the sole of that right foot. And again, just stretch the leg up towards the ceiling. And then again, working into those little hamstring stretches. So again, slowly start to take that leg a little bit away as you inhale. Exhale, bringing the leg a little bit closer. Or again, just bringing that leg to where you get a really good stretch. Hang out there for a couple of breaths. And then if we just release that leg a little bit here and then straighten the left leg. And then again, working a little bit there with the hamstrings and the breath again. Or if it feels okay, the next time we bring that right leg in, we just bring it to a point where we get a really good stretch. And we just hang out there and breathe into it, soften into it. And then again, we can just release. We can now just double that band a couple of times around that left hand. We can just take that right leg a couple of inches across midline of the body to begin with. And then again, we can stay here if this feels good, or we can play around bringing that leg a little bit or a lot further over. And then again, slowly coming back to center. And then again, the last is a little psoas release. So now we're just going to slowly lower that right leg to a point where we no longer really get a stretch. And we're just going to hang out here for a few breaths. And then we're just going to slowly start to bend that knee into the chest. And again, we can just take that band off out to the side. And then again, we can just squeeze that knee into the chest. We might want to bring that opposite leg in. We can have that little roll out of the lower back here. So we just circle those knees a little bit, picking those knees in one direction. And then again in the opposite direction. So now we're just going to gently drop the feet onto the floor and we're going to come into a couple of twists. We're going to work a little bit into eagle legs twists. So again, you might want to use kind of a block or a cushion or a blanket here just to kind of help support your body in this stretch. So we're just going to begin by bringing those arms out to shoulder level. And then we're going to get that kind of left leg and we're going to cross it over the right. So we're just going to have our left foot either rest against the right lower leg, or again, if it's comfortable, you can kind of wrap it around the back of the right calf and then just kind of having that right foot on the floor. So all we're going to start to do here is drop those knees over towards that right side. So I find eagle legs twist quite a strong twist because again, you're using the weight of the legs to pull you over. So again, as you gently drop those knees over towards that right side, you might want to support the legs on a block or a bolster. You might even want to hook the legs a little bit more into the floor, which is what I prefer to do because I really like this as a kind of upper body twist as well. And then again, we really kind of allow that right shoulder blade to root towards the floor as we're slightly twisting over towards that right side. And then we're going to find that length here in that left arm. So we're just going to really kind of lengthen that left arm out to the side and maybe even kind of stretch out through the fingers. And as we do that, we just allow those fingertips just to relax down towards the floor. And then again, if it feels okay, we can even turn the head a little bit towards the right side. Again, if that's not great for the neck, you can just keep the gaze up to the ceiling. And then we can just gently bring those legs back to center. And then we're going to come into the second part of the eagle legs twist. So we're now going to reach those, kind of lift those legs up towards us. So we're kind of bringing our kind of thighs up towards the belly. And then we're going to really step those legs off onto the floor on the right side there. So again, it's more like a forward fold twist because your belly and thighs are kind of moving towards each other. Again, the same thing, you might want to support the legs, you might want to hug the legs towards the floor. And then again, either keep that left arm out to shoulder level, or again, and I find this again quite a strong twist for the upper body. Again, you can play around with sliding that arm a little bit more towards that top corner. But again, just come to that sweet little spot. So we don't want it to be really intense here. And this can be quite an intense pose, I find. So again, just playing around with finding that little sweet spot where you get the stretch, but again, it's restorative for the body. So that breath doesn't change, that breath remains equal and kind of deep and long. And then we can slowly come back onto our backs. And then we're just going to take a moment here between sides. Again, we're just going to stretch the legs out, or again, you might bring the soles of the feet together, or you might have your knees hugged up into your chest. So again, just taking a couple of moments here. And then we're just going to do all that on the opposite side now. So again, we're just going to bring those feet onto the floor. This time we're going to cross that right leg over the left. We're going to either keep that right foot rest against the left lower leg or hook it behind the back of the calf. Funnily, I find it really comfortable on the left side, but I find it really uncomfortable to hook my right foot around the back of the left calf. So I just leave it towards the side. Again, we drop those knees over towards that left side this time. And again, it's that quite strong twist. So again, do we want to support the legs? Do you want to hug the legs towards the floor? And then once we found that little sweet spot there for the legs, we can play around a little bit with finding that length through the arms. So again, just allowing the left shoulder blade to kind of root down towards the floor. So it's slightly rolled over towards that side. And then again, really kind of lengthening through that right arm, through the fingertips, and just allowing the fingertips just to relax into the floor. Not the fingertips, the fingernails. And again, just take a few moments there, just breathing into it. And again, do you want to slightly turn the head? Or do you prefer just to keep the gaze up to the ceiling? Can we just shift the awareness inwards? So again, closing the eyes. And then we can slowly come back to the center. We keep those legs crossed. And again, we now come into that second part of the eagle twist legs, where we lift the thighs up towards the belly. And then we really drop the legs off onto the floor on the left side. And again, we can just hug those knees towards the floor. Or we can support the legs, if that feels better. And again, the same with that. Right arm, do we keep it stretched out to shoulder level, or do we slide it a little bit higher? And again, just that softening into it. So again, wherever you feel that little pull, that little bit of tension, tightness, just breathing into it. And again, just trying to allow everything just to soften and relax and release on the exhalation. And again, just that letting go on the exhalation. And then again, we're just going to slowly come back onto our back. And then we're just going to take that moment now just to release the legs. So again, do bring the soles of the feet together, knees flopped out to the side. We have our legs stretched out. Do we hug the knees into the chest, have that little rock out of the lower back? And then the next one we're going to do is a little side stretch here on our side. So this is where you might want to have your cushion, or you might want to have a block and a cushion, or a block and a blanket on top. This is why I asked you to bring a blanket to class this morning. So what we're going to do is we're just going to roll over, and we're going to kind of find a comfortable position here. So we want to use our block. And again, to cushion your block, you can use a bolster if you've got a bolster at home. But again, with a bolster can be quite high. So if you do use a bolster for this one, you might want to have a block underneath your head as well. It's quite a strong side stretch. So I'm going to bring a kind of blanket on top of my block, so it's a little bit more kind of padded. So what we're going to do here is we want the block to come between our kind of ribs and our kind of hips. So we've kind of got a bony bit of ribs, bony bit of hip bone, and between there we've got that kind of soft part. So this is what we want resting on the block here. And again, we're going to do this so we're lying on our right side. So again, you're just going to get your kind of cushions, your block and a blanket, or then your bolster. And then you're just going to find that position there on the block. And then again, you can just kind of relax, maybe the head down onto the floor, maybe you relax your head onto your kind of right arm. Again, if you are on a block here, if you are on a bolster here, you'll be quite high, so you might want to have your head on the block as well. And then once you've taken a few moments here, we're just going to stretch those legs out. And then we're going to get our left arm, and we're going to reach our left arm up and over that left ear. We're just going to kind of press those fingertips into the floor. And then we're really going to think about the breathing here on that left side. So we're really kind of breathing into those intercostals, so those muscles between the ribs. And because the kind of the right kind of side of the lungs are compressed here, we're really breathing into that left side, feeling that expansion through the left side here. And then we're just going to slowly swap sides in a moment. So again, we can just lift up. We might just roll over onto our opposite side. And then again, we just take those few moments now. So again, we want that block or the bolster between the kind of the hip bone and the ribs on the left side. And again, we might support the head. We can again, if it feels okay to stretch the legs out, sometimes it feels better to keep that bottom leg kind of bent. Okay, you can stretch the legs out if that feels okay. And then again, when you're ready, you can get that right arm, you can reach it up and over that right ear. So again, we're pressing those fingertips into the floor. And then again, we're just going to slowly lift back up. We're going to take that block out now, that ball span. And again, we're just going to gently come back onto our backs now. And again, just take a couple of moments here. So again, do we just hug the knees in? Do we rock out that lower back here for a couple of moments? And then again, we can just drop those feet back onto the floor. Actually, no, we're going to cross the ankles, have that little rock out the lower back. And then again, we're just going to rock up, ooh, in seated. And we're going to swing onto our front. So we're not going to do too much here on the front. We're going to do a little bit more upper body stretching. So we're just going to come into any kind of comfortable child position here for a couple of breaths. Again, we might have knees together, we might have knees hip distance, we might have knees wide out to the side. And we're just going to start to walk those hands forwards. Again, we're just bringing the hands towards the top of the mat. We're going to slightly drop the head down and just tuck the chin in here for a couple of breaths. And then we're just going to gently take those arms over towards that, over towards one side, and just take a couple of breaths there. And then we're going to take those arms towards that opposite side. And then again, we're going to come back to center. And then just pressing into the fingertips here, slowly coming up into all fours. So we're going to come into a little kind of shoulder side stretch now. So we're going to do that one. We're going to drop our right elbow onto the floor, so it's roughly underneath the right shoulder, and our right hand is underneath the front of the left. We're going to gently stretch that left arm out, and then we're going to drop our forehead down onto that right forearm or onto the floor above below. Knees are roughly in line with hips, but your bum might be a little bit further forwards or back. Toes might be tucked under or flat on the floor. So again, just starting to walk that kind of left hand as far forward as you feel comfortable, and then pressing into the fingertips and just allowing the chest to sink towards the floor here. And then just gently kind of allowing that left forearm to kind of sink towards the floor. How does it feel to turn the head to the right? And then again, we can just gently press the fingertips back into the floor, lift that forearm back off the floor. And then finally, this time, pull back with the bum and the hips. And have a little, either pull back and create that little bit of tension, or that little kind of side to side rock out here. And then again, we can slowly come back up here onto all fours. And then we can do all that on the opposite side now. So again, we're just going to drop that left elbow underneath the front of the left shoulder. We're going to have our left hand underneath the front of the right. We're going to stretch that right arm out towards the top of the mat, and we're just going to relax our forehead down onto that forearm or onto the floor above or below, or onto a block. And then again, just kind of allowing the chest to sink in. So we get that little bit of openness now across the front of the shoulders. And then again, we can play around here. So again, how does it feel to keep those fingertips pressing into the floor? And then just try and lower that kind of right forearm a little bit more towards the floor. Maybe turn the head to the left. And then just lifting that forearm back off the floor. And this time I'm pulling back with the bum and the hips, or just having that little rock from side to side. And then again, we can slowly pull back now into any little child resting positions. Again, we might have arms stretched out in front, we might have forehead on a couple of fists, we might have forehead on the block. And then we can just gently stretch the arms out. Now we can slowly come back up here onto all fours. So again, we're just going to now bring those hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to play around a little bit here with our cat-cows. So again, just stretching out that back a little bit. So again, as we inhale, taking the tailbone up, dropping the belly down, rolling up through the front of the chest, lifting up through the head. And again, as we exhale, tucking toes under, tucking tailbone down, sucking the belly in, arching the back, and dropping the head. And again, just a couple more rounds. And then we're just going to come back to that flat back position. So we're going to do one little down dog to stretch out, and then that's our only standing pose we're going to do today. So we're just going to press into the fingertips, press up between the shoulder blades, tucking the toes under, dropping the bum towards the heels, taking the tailbone up towards the ceiling, taking a little down dog here. Just take a couple of moments to stretch out. We can even do that little calf stretch as we step our right foot behind the left, press that left heel towards the floor, drop the head down. And then just bringing that right foot onto the floor, stepping the left foot behind, pressing right heel towards the floor, tailbone up towards the ceiling. And then we can bring both feet back onto the floor. We can slowly start to drop the knees, untuck the toes, and come back into any little child resting position. And then we're just going to bring those fingertips down by the knees, and we're going to slowly come up and seated. So we're now going to take a couple of moments here and do some little shoulder stretches. So you want to come into any comfortable seated position. So again, you might want to perch on a block, you might want to perch on a couple of blocks, you might want to perch on your block and your cushion. And then all we're going to start to do here is just relax the arms down that side. And we're going to do a little bit of kind of working around with eagle arms and shoulder stretching, and also a little bit of that stretching through the kind of the rib cage area. So we're going to take those arms out to shoulder level, and we're going to give ourselves that big hug. So we're going to take our left arm over, right arm under. We're going to catch hold of those shoulder blades there. And we're just going to slightly tuck the chin in. And then we're going to lift the head up now. We're going to let go of the shoulders. We're going to try and keep those elbows crossed. And again, we might just bring the back of the hands towards each other. We might bring the back of the hands touch. You might bring the palms touch. You can use your band here if that feels better.
And then all we're going to start to do is just gently tug the elbows, so they're kind of up in line with the shoulders, and then kind of tug them forwards a little bit. So you're really feeling that stretch kind of between the shoulder blades and down the arms. And then again, tucking the chin in, so we really feel that kind of neck stretch where a lot of those neck muscles, like scalenes and stuff, start between the shoulder blades. And then we're just going to slightly lift the head now. And then we're just going to tug those arms a little bit towards that right side. And then we're going to come back to center. And then we're going to have a little play around now. So we're going to inhale, start to lift up into that little kind of back bending eagle arms. And then we're going to exhale, curling in. And again, we can inhale, lift it up. And again, exhale, curling in. And if you want to play around a little bit more with that kind of shoulder and side stretch here, the next time you inhale, lift up, as you exhale, curl in, maybe you bring those hands towards the floor, maybe you bring them right down towards the floor. And maybe if you're sitting kind of on your knees like me, you can even kind of hook your elbows over. So hook your elbows over towards that right side. So again, you get that little bit extra stretch across the left shoulder there. And then again, we can slowly come back up. We can release the arms, give those arms a bit of a shake out. And then we're going to do all that on the opposite side now. So again, we're going to start to take those arms out to shoulder level. We're going to again give ourselves a big hug. We're going to take that right arm over, left arm under. We're going to catch hold of the shoulders. We're going to slightly tuck the chin in here. And then lifting the head up, and again, slowly bringing those arms up to eagle arms. So again, do we bring back the hands together, palms together? Do we use a band to just have the back of the hands facing towards each other? And then again, just slightly lifting those elbows up in line with the shoulders. And then again, tucking those arms forwards and a little bit further up, if that feels okay, and tucking the chin in. And then again, lift the head up, slightly tuck the arms a little bit more over towards that left side. And then again, we can come back to center. And then this time, if it feels okay to again, lift those arms up as we inhale. Exhale, curl. And again, lifting up. And again, exhale, curl. And then the next time we inhale, lifting up. Does it feel okay as we curl it? Maybe to slightly twist a little bit more towards that kind of left side. So we're kind of hooking those arms over towards the left side. And then again, we can come back to center. And we can just release the arms. And then finally now, we're just going to do a couple of those little neck rolls. Again, just letting that head go nice and heavy. Just getting all those cracks and creaks with that neck as we just gently stretch out the neck. And then we take that head in the opposite direction. And then we can just bring that head back to center. So now we're going to slowly come over onto our backs. We're going to play around a little bit with restorative bridge. So then you might want your block with your cushion on top to be nice and comfortable. Or again, if you've got a bolster, you can use a bolster. And again, just slowly coming down onto the back. And again, just taking that couple of moments here. So do you want to hug the knees in? Do you want to stretch out the lower back? Do you want to stretch the legs up towards the ceiling? Do you want to squeeze the knees in?
And then just slowly dropping feet onto the floor. And we can just relax those arms down by the sides. So again, we just lengthen through the back of the neck. We have our feet roughly stacked underneath the knees. And then again, we're going to come into those little bridge lifts. As we inhale, we press into the hands, press into the feet as we lift up through the thighs, up through the pelvis, up through the chest. And then again, we can exhale, rolling down through the back of the body. And then again, our next round, we're going to slowly lift up into our bridge position. And then we're now going to grab our block, our prop, and we're going to bring it underneath the back of the sit bones. And we're just going to get comfy here. So again, to begin with, we're going to take the stretch a little bit into the chest. So again, we're just going to take the arms out shoulder level, or cactus arms, or up over the head. And then we're going to come into a little diaphragm release now. So this is that one where we're going to get our fingertips and we're going to find our ribs. And we're going to find where our ribs, bottom rib meets our sternum. So again, that little V joint at the base of the sternum there, that little V. So we're just going to slowly trace down those ribs a little bit to where the ribs start to curve a little bit. So we trace down from the sternum. And there's a little gap there where you can kind of get your fingers a little bit underneath. And then if it feels really uncomfortable, you don't have to do this. You can just breathe with the hands on the belly. And if it feels okay, take an inhalation here. And then as you exhale, slightly pull those ribs up. And then just trace those fingers down a little bit more to that point where there's quite a lot of space under that kind of bottom rib. And then again, we're just going to do the same thing here. So we're going to inhale. And as we exhale, we slightly pull the ribs up. And then finally, just tracing the ribs to where they start to curve around towards the back. And then again, there's that little bit of space there we can hold. And as we exhale, we slightly pull. And then again, we can just release. And then again, we can just keep those legs as they are. We can bring the soles of the feet together, knees flopped out to the side. We can stretch the legs out if that feels better. And then all we're going to do now is we're just going to get the palms, and we're going to get our hands, we're going to get the kind of the heel of the hands, and we're going to bring it up to the eyelids. And we're just going to gently kind of bring those kind of palms onto the eyes there. And just breathe into this darkness here. And we just really kind of allow the tongue and the jaw to soften on the exhalation. And then we can just bring those fingertips onto the eyelids. Again, we just gently massage our eyelids onto the temples, down the side to the jaw, to the chin. And then we can just gently bring those arms back down by the sides. Those legs are stretched out. We gently bring those feet back in. We press into the hands and the feet as we lift up into our bridge position. We slide our prop out. And then again, we slowly roll down, vertebra by vertebra here, as we come back onto our backs. And then we just hug those knees up into the chest. Now we have that little rock out here below back. We just slightly circle the knees in one direction. And then we take the knees in the opposite direction. And then finally, just holding onto those knees, taking an inhalation, exhale, squeezing the thighs towards the belly. And then again, release, take those knees about hip distance, inhale, exhale, squeeze the thighs towards the belly. And then finally, just take those knees as wide out to the sides as you can as you inhale. And again, exhale, squeeze it in. And then we're just going to take a couple of moments here just to stretch out, move however we feel we need to move. And then we're just going to get ready in a moment to come into our little Shavasana. So again, we want to be nice and comfortable here. We want to be really restorative. So just grabbing your cushions, grabbing your blocks, grabbing whatever you need to make you feel nice and comfortable here in Shavasana. And again, just taking those few moments to get comfortable here. So again, just finding any comfortable reclining position. And then just taking a few moments. So again, just shifting that awareness inwards, closing the eyes. And again, do you need to make any little adjustments? And then we just slowly start to shift that awareness inwards. So we just become aware of the body, parts of the body that press into the floor. Again, we bring our awareness to the breath. We just become aware of that inhalation, the exhalation. And then we just start to bring that breath into the body. So again, we just breathe from the top of the head, right down into the fingers, the toes. We just focus into any little areas of tension, tightness, discomfort in the body. And again, as we breathe out, we just really allow the body to relax. Let the weight of the body just sink down into the floor. Let everything soften, relax, release on that exhalation. And then again, we can just breathe from the top of the head right down into the fingers, the toes. And again, as we exhale, just allow the weight of the body just to sink down into the floor. So just allow the body to soften, let go, release on that exhalation. And then we can just start to bring that breath and the awareness into the legs. So again, from the hips into the thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, feet. And as we breathe out, we just allow the legs to relax. Just let the weight of the legs sink down into the floor. We can bring the breath and the awareness into the arms, again from the shoulders, into the upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands. And again, as we breathe out, we just allow the arms to relax. And the way the arms just sink down into the floor. We can bring the breath and the awareness into the front of the body. So again, from the hips up into the, from the hips and up into the pelvis, the belly, the abdomen, the lungs, chest, ribs, collarbones. And again, as we breathe out, we just allow the weight at the front of the body sink into the back of the body. We can again just breathe into the back. So again, from those shoulder blades down for all those big back muscles into the glutes. And again, as we breathe out, we just allow the weight at the back just sink down into the floor. And then we can just breathe now up into the neck, front of the neck, back of the neck. So we breathe out, relaxing the neck. Now we can breathe up into the face, the chin, the mouth, the cheeks, the nose, the ears, the eyes, the forehead. As we breathe out, we just relax the face. And got any tension there, especially relaxing that jaw, the tongue. And then just breathing into the top of the head, back of the head where it touches the floor. And again, as we breathe out, just allow the head to become nice and heavy. And then we just breathe from the top of the head right down into the fingers, the toes. And again, as we exhale, just allow the body to become nice and heavy. And then we just become aware of that breath now, and just the inhalation and the exhalation. And as we breathe in, there's that slight widening, lengthening through the chest and the back. And as we exhale, that softening, relaxing. We become aware of the breath coming into the lungs. Again, as we breathe in through the nostrils, breathing into the lungs, and then breathing out through the lungs and out of the nostrils. And again, as we breathe in through the nostrils, those lungs inflate, the chest widens and the back lengthens. And then as we breathe out of the lungs, the chest sinks in, the back moves into the floor, the neck lengthens, back of the neck lengthens, and the breath comes out of the nostrils. Then we just become aware of that breath coming into that right nostril and filling up that right lung. And then coming out of the right lung and out of the right nostril. And then we breathe into that right nostril, that right lung inflates, that right side, the chest widens, the back lengthens on the right side. And then as we breathe out of that right lung, the right side, the chest moves towards the floor, the back lengthens towards the floor, back of the neck lengthens on the right side, and the breath comes out of the right nostril. And again, we just breathe into that right nostril and into that right lung, and then out of that right lung. Now of that right nostril. And then the next time we breathe out through that right lung and the right nostril, we become aware of breathing into the left nostril and the left lung. And then breathing out of the left lung and out of the left nostril. And we breathe into the left nostril. That left lung inflates, left side, the chest widens, back lengthens on the left side. And as we exhale, breathe out of that left lung, that left side, the chest moves in towards the back. And the back of the neck lengthens on the left side. And the air comes out of the left nostril. And again, that air comes into that left nostril, fills up that left lung, then comes out of that left lung and out of the left nostril. And again, breathing into that left side and breathing out of the left side. And then the next time we breathe out through that right lung, through the right nostril, we now just become aware of the breath coming into both nostrils. and both lungs. And just how is that breath? Is it long and deep? Is it shallow? Is it short? Is it quiet? Again, how is that breath? So we just slowly bring our awareness back to the body. That floor underneath us, the air on the skin. Start to breathe a little deeper. We start to bring a little bit of gentle movement as we start to wiggle the fingers, the toes a little, taking the head from side to side. When we're ready to bring a little bit more movement into the body, we can again just do a gentle round stretch, just stretching out however feels good. And again, if you want to, we can bring those hands together, gently rub the hands together, create a little bit of heat. We can bring the hands up to the eyes, just gently blinking into the warmth and darkness of the hands. Bringing the fingertips onto the eyelids, gently massaging out the eyelids, onto the temples, and down the sides of the jaw to the chin. And then we can just hug those knees up into the chest when we're ready. Just have that little rock out the lower back. And then again, we can slowly find our way up into any comfortable seated position. And then again, just that couple of moments here. So again, how do you feel after your practice? And again, that equinox, that point of balance. Again, we're moving from that high energy summer towards that slower energy winter. So again, what do we need to let go of? It no longer serves us. And then what do we need to bring into our life to help nourish us and kind of replenish us as we move into the darkness of winter? So, thank you very much, guys. Lovely to practice with you all this morning, and apologies